I will do a call to order, and let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, printed copy.
We have a copy.
Yeah.
We have a flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will do the roll call. Committee member Gay.
Here.
Committee member Fouchcourt.
Here.
And Chair Gamsby is here. I put the minutes before the additions, deletions, or amendments, but we need to do those first because I have another set of minutes that need to be accepted. We have the July 1st minutes, the June 17th minutes, and I was provided with the June 23rd minutes. So I printed those out and included them in the packet. We have them in email, and there's a transcript from the actual meeting that was attached to it. I only printed one copy of that and included it with the town's copy because it was 32 pages and I didn't want to print a ton of them.
Is there somewhere that can be made available to the public, those minutes?
Yes, they should be getting attached to the websites.
Not the agenda part?
Yeah, that's
So
where,
we go look down and we'll see the
After
minutes?
we approve them and don't change them, I'll send them to you.
Oh. I'll let you.
I mean, is that okay?
yeah, it's fine with me. They're public record, so. I need somebody to motion to accept the minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes for July 1st, June 17th, and the third date is June 23rd.
June 23rd. It's been motion to accept the minutes for July 1st, June 17th, and June 23rd. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been motion and second to accept the minutes. Is there any discussion?
No.
All right, let's bring it to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Ayes have it, 3-0.
While we're on the minutes, can I just clarify something here?
Sure.
All these meetings run together, so we do a check down on the meetings and the minutes that we've had? I've got a May 27th meeting, which was our organizational meeting. I have no minutes for that. I wasn't the secretary.
That was a workshop, and yeah, we have minutes for that.
Okay. We just approved the June 17 minutes. The next meeting was June 23rd. We just approved those minutes. The next meeting was July 1st, and we just approved those minutes.
Yes.
So I'm in arrears the July 24th minutes.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
So July 24th, didn't we have a meeting on the 10th too?
No.
Let me check my calendar. All these meetings run together.
We had June 23rd. And none of these, I went looking for budget on Nick's website. Will this be the first one on your website on budget?
This is an audit committee, this is not a budget.
Oh, that's why, okay, I'll look up audit then.
So who will post these on the website?
Should
Once you
be,
improve, get them in here.
Just approve them so that they'll go on the website. I'd rather not be sending them to people if this is the approved version. Who puts it on the website?
You only make any changes in it, so we can get them on the website.
yeah, so Lee should be able to pass them to Don Shea, should be able to put them on the website.
So Mr. Garner has them all on via email. so-
I got the first and the 17th and the
Okay.
things like Wednesday, so
Mr. Garner will post them. I'm not going to send them.
we're getting paid. They won't probably be done till Monday, because Don Shea will be back till Monday.
Okay, and the 24th and May 27th, are those going to be on there too?
So July 24th hasn't happened yet, or we haven't approved those minutes.
What you just did?
So I owe the July 24th minutes.
This is July 1st, June 17th, June 23rd. Then we have the May ones. We gotta get those posted.
Any
than today.
June 17th. July 1st.
Did he,
Those three
do
items.
we need to amend the agenda then to include the June 23rd minutes? Which are not on the
Yeah,
agenda.
that's what he did.
You did?
I did, but we didn't do it properly. So let's do the additions, deletions, and amendments to the agenda.
Well, I had one addition, we add the June 23rd minutes to item 3.
Do we have any other additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda?
None.
None? All right, would somebody like to move to add the June 23rd minutes to the agenda under item 3, acceptance of minutes?
I make a motion to add the June 23rd minutes to the agenda.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we add the June 23rd minutes to the acceptance of minutes, section 3. Is there any discussion?
None.
Then let's bring it to a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries 3 yeses, 0 nos. All right, let's move to citizens from the floor. Is there anybody who likes
I
to?
got one question. Last meeting that I was at, I don't know, I might be behind the time on this one. There was questions about financial statements getting to the audit committee from Powell. Did they ever get to you guys? It was supposedly updated information, because you guys pointed something was haywire.
Scott, I'll let you take that. You got sent a series of spreadsheets, whether or not.
So what I think the financial statement is the representation of management. So I've not seen no, we do have the 9/30/24 financial statement that we can now try to tie to the audit. Yes, sir.
So he gave it to you with the corrections.
Last year's.
Well, we just took the QuickBooks report and then we'll reconcile that to the 24 audit
Is
report.
that what Powell?
We haven't done that for 22 and 23. We just got the 22 and 23 information this week, or maybe last week.
So does Powell have to make those submissions to you guys?
No, the QuickBooks belongs to the town. Mr. Powell has nothing to do with that. I'm told that the QuickBooks reside on the town computer.
Okay.
And they have all this time that we've been asking for the information.
And they had it all along.
Apparently so.
All right, are there any other citizens from the floor? Okay, let's move to the request for proposal, the updated draft. So I updated quite a bit on this version. I incorporated all the changes that you sent me, Gretchen, to the relevant sections. I standardized the fonts, so they're all now Time New Roman instead of being a whole bunch of different fonts. I syncopated the titles for the table of contents so that they're no longer just whole sentences, basically. I updated some dates in there that were incorrect. Added a little bit of content, like the government auditing standards promulgated by the Comptroller General of the United States under the audit shall be performed on page 3 right now. I updated all the instances of the town to remove the quotes and just have it in caps locks to kind of make it standard and just look a little bit nicer. I did some formatting changes where like things were split between pages, like charts. I tried to fix them. I took the section that had been the response format that was just sort of stuck in second, proposal, and I combined it with the qualifications section, which is now called response format and contents. because there was a lot of overlap between those two sections, and I thought it was kind of ridiculous that it kept saying, go to this other section to find this content. So that's been streamlined, and I got rid of some of the redundancy there. We still need to put specific dates down for the audit timetable. That is outstanding. There are some sections that I did not get content for yet. The anticipated implementation problems arising from authoritative pronouncements. So basically, are there any new laws that are coming in that are going to affect our audit?
Just so happens I'm going to Orlando Thursday and Friday to get update on all the new current audit information. So I specifically made sure I'm going to the government information, so I'll have it all next week.
All right, it is now written down, so I'm holding you to that.
I'll have a nice case study to share with class, I'm sure.
We're so excited.
We also need section 4.1, level of assurance. So that shouldn't be too much, just probably something you should be able to pick up, Scott, I think.
Mhm.
I think there was only one other piece of information that was missing.
Was the yellow is what's missing?
Yellow is what's missing. So we might want to start talking about, once the actual RFP proper is complete, attachments that we might want, because for instance, we reference audit cost sheets and cost estimate sheets in the pricing section, but something like that doesn't exist. So do you guys want me to make some attachments for that?
Well, I don't know what
That's under page 21,
cost
section
sheets, I don't know
7.
what that means. Oh, so we would, I guess we would just summarize.
How we want their cost information presented to us.
So we would summarize all the reports we get, we standardize the information on the form so we can evaluate them all.
Yeah.
Is that
Yep.
what that means?
Instead of having one guy just say, it's gonna be 25 a year, and another guy gives us 6 pages of,
I'm guessing that's what that means there.
alright, I'll make something for next time, and we can get some A/B testing going and decide what we wanna do with that. And then we have section 12 and 13 of part 5, additional laws and regulations. And then probably need something around the engagement letter requirements. If there's nothing for number 12, we could just delete that section, right? If we don't have any content we want to put in there. So it's optional.
I'll have a lot of information, because I'm going to update I'll get whatever's the new requirements or promulgation, I'll have it next week.
Do we want to include an engagement letter or a sample engagement letter? How do we want to handle this 13th one, engagement letter requirements?
Well, I think we'll find that almost every auditor is going to send us the same letter, essentially, because they pull them out of a practice book, like a book of forms. And I think they'll all be very similar. But we don't mention the management representation letter here. That's really the responsibility of the auditors to obtain from us. But I think we want to make sure that one is issued by the town, because then we know whether we have a responsible party. That's an issue we've had the last 4 years, we're not repeat.
So should we put that under the audit timetable then? Issuance of,
I think we need to say the town will issue a management representation letter to a form that's agreeable to the town as the auditor.
so under engagement letter section?
No, let's add another number 14, management representation letter. Those are two different documents.
Management. Station letter. That's everything I have with the RFP.
Looks good to me. I mean, it's weeks. I mean, you've done an excellent job with it.
Professional expertise. Does anybody have any additions to the RFP they were thinking we need, or something that looked funny they didn't like?
I don't at this time.
Okay. Then we're done with that section. We'll meet again in, I'll talk later about when we'll meet, but probably 2 weeks from now. Hopefully we can have it 99.99% done. So moving on to the next section, discuss outstanding audit issues. Where to begin with this? So I talked to the, I'm gonna look up his name. The auditor who's doing the,
Caleb Earl?
no, the one from JLAC.
Walt,
Yeah, Walt Cunningham. So I talked to him about the, some of the issues around the gambling permits, specifically about the money orders and the cash. And he said that although the money orders is unusual, it's not illegal. And as far as cash goes, he recommended that the town implement a cash policy to not accept cash payments over a certain amount, to be determined by the town, obviously. He did recommend, because I asked him about how we should handle the issues with the appearance of independence and the issue with the management representation letter and the timing of the turnover and everything. He told me to send an email to JLAC, which is this, the JLAC at leg.state.fl.us. I attached it in. So I sent them this letter, and this is the response that we got back.
What did you say? What did you tell them?
I'm going to say, do you want me to read it? So I said, to whom it may
You gotta
concern,
make that part of the minutes.
this will be submitted for the minutes.
Okay.
Yes. To whom it may concern, my name is Robert Gamsby, and I'm a town council member and the chair of the audit committee for White Springs, Florida. We are undergoing the financial audit for fiscal year 2024 right now and have run into some procedural issues that require guidance on how to move forward. We've run into two major issues while trying to undergo the last fiscal year's audit. Turnover of town staff, issue with appearance of auditor independence. Turnover of staff. Our financial audit was due on June 30th, 2025. However, we experienced significant turnover for the entire leadership of the town except for the town attorney and our contracted accountant. The town manager, town council, and town clerk all resigned or were terminated between April 15th through May 13th. And then I put a listing of the dates. 4/15/2025, town council resigns. 4/20/2025 approximately, because I don't know the exact date. Town clerk is terminated. 4/22/2025, new town council elected. 4/24/2025, new town council sworn in. 4/30/2025, town manager takes a leave of absence. 5/13/2025, town council puts town manager on administrative leave and begins termination. 6/2/2025 through 6/6/2025, auditor does field work. 6/10/2025, town manager final termination. 6/10/2025, audit committee formed. 6/17/2025, audit committee organizational meeting. 6/23/2025, auditor presents audit to committee / audit rejected. 6/23/2025, new interim manager starts. 6/27/2025, Richard Powell, accounting consultant, sent signed letter attesting to independence. 6/30/2025, audit is due to state. 6/30/2025, new interim town manager signs representation letter. Previous town manager had not provided the auditor with management representation letter, nor did we have anyone with the municipality who is familiar with our procedures and financial position who could work with the auditor during their field work. We only had a utilities clerk, bookkeeper, and contract accountant as administrative staff at the time. The town council was newly elected and did not work with the auditor during this period. We are having issues reconciling the fact that the town required experienced staff to participate in the audit process but did not have anyone available who qualified as such. Can the audit be verified after the fact? If so, at what point does someone become qualified to do the verification? If not, will we have to redo the field work portion of the audit? If not, will the whole audit need to be redone with the appropriate staff in place? And then issues with auditor independence. In November 2022, Reliant CPA purchased the Powell & Jones name from Richard Powell, our current contracted accountant. Powell & Jones operates out of office space leased from Richard Powell. Richard Powell does not have a business interest or investment stake in Powell & Jones. Further, Mr. Powell has presented us with a signed and notarized statement attesting as such. The original letter was submitted with the incorrect date of November 2020, and we are receiving a corrected version with 2022 that I can pass along when completed. The 2020 audit still has Richard and Marion Powell on the letterhead and is dated July 25th, 2022. Up until very recently, Mr. Powell was listed on the Powell & Jones website as a consultant, but has since been removed. The relationship has opened some concerns around the appearance of independence and our ability to move forward with the audit based on the lack of independence. Powell & Jones also performed our audits for fiscal year 2023, 2022, and 2021. Do we have an issue with the appearance of independence with the auditor? If so, does the issue with appearance of independence prevent us from accepting the 2024 audit? If we do, does the issue with appearance of independence mean we need to get a new auditor for the 2024 audit? If we do, does the issue with appearance of independence mean that we need to redo previously submitted audits? Please let me know if this is the correct email method of contact for getting guidance for these issues. If not, please let me know if I should be looking elsewhere. So I got a response from JLAC. Good morning, Mr. Gamsby. We have reviewed the information and concerns provided below relating to the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit. Oh, good, it cut off the email. Fantastic.
I've got it.
Can you read that part through? Because I tried printing the email and it cut off like the last 2 words of every sentence. I'm from JLAC's response to my letter.
We have reviewed the information and concerns provided below relating to the fiscal year 2023-24 audit report for the town of White Springs and provide the following information regarding such. First bullet point, concerns related to the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit report. Although they state that the town is undergoing they put in quotes, undergoing the financial audit for fiscal year 2024 right now, and the audit report was quote unquote rejected by the town's audit committee, you also state that the new interim town manager signed the management representation letter on June 30th, 2025. This letter is required to be obtained from the auditee before the audit report is issued. Records received by our office from the Auditor General's office indicate that they received the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit report for the town of White Springs on June 30th, 2025. Because an audit report has been issued by a licensed certified public accounting firm, CPA firm, any concerns, questions related to that audit report will need to be addressed with the Florida Board of Accountancy. Okay. Also, please note that Florida law does not require the acceptance of an audit report by the governing body of a local government or its audit committee for the audit report to be issued by a CPA firm engaged to perform an audit. Bullet point 2, concerns related to independence, appearance of independence. The independence technical standards for certified public accountants, CPA, and CPA firms in Florida are set forth in section 473.315 Florida statutes and chapter 61H1-21 Florida Administrative Code Any questions or concerns related to the independence / appearance of independence of a CPA or a CPA firm would need to be addressed by the Florida Board of Accountancy. Summary. In accordance with Section 218.39 Florida statutes, the town obtained annual financial audit of its accounts and records by a licensed CPA firm, and the audit report has been submitted to the Auditor General's office as required pursuant to Section 218.39 subsection 7 Florida statutes. These audits are required to be conducted in accordance with the rules of the Auditor General's promulgated pursuant to Section 11.45 Florida statutes. The Auditor General has issued rules of the Auditor General, Chapter 10.550, Local Governmental Entity Audits, and has adopted the auditing standards set forth in the publication entitled Government Auditing Standards 2018 Revision as standards for auditing local governmental entities pursuant to Florida law. If there are any concerns related to the independence or the work of a licensed CPA firm, such concerns should be directed to the Florida Board of Accountancy pursuant to Chapter 473 Florida statutes. The board was created in the Department of Business and Professional Regulation to regulate the practice of public accounting and adopt rules to implement the provisions of law, including rules relating to competence and technical standards and discipline. Such rules include references to rules of the Auditor General. Every CPA and CPA firm in the state is governed and controlled by this law and these rules. Neither the Joint Legislative Auditing Committee nor the Auditor General's office have the jurisdiction or the authority to review concerns related to the independence of a CPA or a CPA firm or comment on the professional judgment applied by a CPA firm. Kathy Du Bois and Betty White, staff of JLAC.
They also included a copy of the Division of Certified Public Accounting Enforcement Complaint Process that I will not read. That'll take a lot of time. So I sent an email to the auditor asking if they had submitted the audit already. And he said that his secretary had mailed out a copy of the audit that we were presented on the 23rd. They had not sent an electronic copy to the Auditor General or certified the AFR.
I thought you told them not to.
told us he
We
wouldn't.
did.
And he also gave us a modified report after that, so, and he added the nutrient agreement, he added the, interlocal thing with the sheriff's department. And he told us that night that he would not submit the report, and he actually started, I thought he told you that he needed more time to complete it just last week.
So, Leslie, can you read his response to me? Because mine's cut off.
I talked with my secretary and reviewed her log, and she mailed out a paper copy of the report that was originally presented in June, the same day I did the presentation, just after she printed them out for the meeting. We will send them an updated paper copy once we finalize any changes. We have not sent an electronic copy to Auditor General or certified the AFR.
Annual financial report.
So that is the update that I got from JLAC and from Caleb.
So if we could maybe start with the management representation letter, because I think that one might be easier to talk about. So I pulled, this is AS 2805, management representations. This is from the auditing standards. And there is a section here at point 10. If current management was not present during all periods covered by the auditor's report, the auditor should nevertheless obtain written representations from current management on all such periods. So that would seem to address the issue of what you do if you have new management that wasn't present during the covered period.
Can you explain that again?
So if the current management was not present during all periods covered by the auditor's report, The auditor should nevertheless obtain written representations from current management on all such periods.
So he's supposed to validate what they did, even though he has no idea what they did.
That's what it
Yeah,
says.
Mr. Garner, did you read what all you sworn to here? Or not, maybe not sworn, but,
All I
I
did is say they got the
mean,
information they needed.
But
you don't know that. We don't even know that. We're still
Right.
finding
To the
issues.
best of my knowledge.
Right, and so here's another part, this is like .09. The letter should be signed by those members of management with overall responsibility for financial and operating matters whom the auditor believes are responsible for and knowledgeable about, directly or through others in the organization, the matters covered by the representation.
The keyword be knowledgeable about,
Directly or through others in the organization.
well, our others all left.
And, but it sounds like JLAC made it very clear that that letter is required. That the audit can't be, we can't have an audit without the letter.
Without the management representation letter.
But even if they fib on it, it's still okay?
Well,
The
that's,
management representation letter, if I'm correct, basically is to protect the auditor, right?
it basically says, I've told you everything, there's nothing, there's no information that you have not given me. It's quite extensive. So especially after having our meeting that Mr. Garner was a part of, that he would execute this letter without even acknowledging that he was gonna execute it. That's dumbfounding.
But what would be the alternative?
The alternative would have been to discuss things with you first, because it's certainly an extraordinary circumstance. So rather than take the responsibility on his shoulders, and I thought we asked him at one of these meetings to, let's consult with you.
Her
before we-
and the other guy's attorney, the two attorneys.
I mean, Mr. Perlich would have done the same thing, but we're not concerned with Mr. Perlich, we are concerned with our town manager.
If he signs that letter, right, he has to be protected because if he's not, why would he sign a letter, management letter, saying stuff, all this information is correct? Or is it, like he said, to best of
To
his
the
knowledge?
knowledge, and that's what
Okay, so
I
to
swear
the
by.
best of his knowledge, that's a fair statement, but that doesn't
That's
get,
not the law.
that doesn't get the citizens of White Springs what we paid for.
That is correct. I'm just
I mean,
saying,
he had been here 2 weeks. When did you come on board, Mr. Garner?
23rd June, I signed it.
Signed it 7 days later. So
Because
I just don't know how
the due
it's,
date was there.
but that's
and-
between him and the town council. I mean, if the town council wants to go, there's really nothing we can do about it. But it sure doesn't indicate to me that we have had a thorough audit for 2024.
or 23, or 24.
Well, 2022 and 23, there are no management representation letters.
Correct.
I've asked for Mr. Perla and I've asked Mr. Garner to supply them. I don't have any. So that tells, and if there's not a management representation letter, the auditor's supposed to disclaim the audit, especially in the circumstance we've had here with our whole town government resigning or being terminated, whatever the case may have been. And we really don't know why they were.
Jim, did you get the copies, the unsigned copies that I sent to you, the management representation letters for 22 and 23, I sent them to you. They were unsigned, they were on the computer unsigned, so I have no idea where they were submitted or not, but I just sent them to you
You
early
sent
morning.
them to me? I'll take a look.
I got one, but the burden's not on you, Mr. Garner. The burden would have been on the auditor to obtain that before he issued his report. So now he's issued a report that he should have, given our circumstances, it would have been prudent to disclaim the audit, said, I don't have enough information to do the audit. But he didn't. He issued an unqualified opinion.
So that would have been, the only other option would have been for him basically not to provide us with an audit, which,
He can say, I can't, well, they actually did. In 2021, we did have a disclaimer. That's why we eventually got the Auditor General in here. So we really have had the same situation now for 22 and 23 because there's no executed management representation letters.
So what does the Auditor General say about that
Well,
situation?
it sounds to me like that that they don't want to be the enforcement arm. It sounds to me like that our town council needs to be the enforcement arm. We don't have to pay the auditor. If we think he didn't do his job, we don't have to pay him.
He's probably already been paid.
He has a contract to do.
Well, he had a contract. Well, that's why we're going through the RFP and we're saying, here are the things that we want.
Right, that's a great job he's done.
And if those things haven't been addressed, then we would have grounds to not pay the auditor.
Did we not have an RFP for these guys?
Well, no, that was one of the audit findings, is we've not had the RFP process or audit selection committee for 20, 21, 22, 23, or 24.
And you're gonna ask this town council to make a decision? Have you looked at us?
Well, that's the position that that you're in.
As JLAC noted, the state has adopted the governing standards that I read, and I just read their sentence. If the current management was not present during all periods, the auditor should nevertheless obtain written representations
Now,
from current management.
And that's what I did.
did this come from the people that he's supposed to contact because JLAC said contact these people?
The Board of Accountancy?
No.
No.
Can we get a Board of Accountancy human in here?
So that'll probably come up as we get into independence. So what I read from is from the government auditing standards, which is what JLAC says. The Auditor General has issued rules of the Auditor General and has adopted the auditing standards set forth in the publication entitled Government Auditing Standards.
So if I
And that would
understand,
be this, like, that would be this, AS.
Well, there's that, and then there's that one, then there's
Because
government.
I looked at a couple, AS, AU, different beginnings, they all had the same sentence. So this is from their standards.
As far as him signing the papers that you're discussing right now.
Is that, I mean,
But I'm talking about validity of all of the audits.
so that's a whole nother question. But as far as the management representation letter,
And this year.
and JLAC was presented with the facts, and they said
Check with
he
those
needed,
guys.
well, they said the letter was required. They didn't have an issue with the management representation letter. They didn't mention an issue with it. They talked further about the independence issue, but they didn't address any issue with the new town manager.
If they push it on to this next,
This is like a social promotion.
The-
This is like, yeah, we complied with the letter of the law, but we've not complied with the spirit of the law.
and that dumps it on the council.
well, so if I'm understanding JLAC's response to me correctly, they do not require, they being the auditor, our permission to submit the audit. I mean, it makes sense logically, because if they found something terrible, we could just be like, no, we don't accept it, remove the thing, right? And that would handcuff them. We're probably the rare instance of we're saying you're not
Just
going
the
far
opposite,
enough.
yeah.
You're not being critical enough, you're not, taking these things. So we can meet as a council and reject the audit and it won't matter. It sounds to me like we've been given the big red button and that's it. We can file a complaint with the Board of Accountancy, which is basically equivalent of accusing them of fraud. And take it from there.
Is there somebody that we could counsel with before we file something?
Leslie?
Yes, so here's the thing, there are 4 opinions that are here online about independence, but I cannot read them. Like when you click, you can't actually read the opinion. Where am
Well, it's,
Handed down from a judge or?
so are we done with the management rep? I mean, it sounds like Mr. Garner executed a letter. It checks the box that the auditor needed. The auditor has now submitted a copy of a report to the Auditor General. But he's made representations to us now, and he's actually got a new version of the audit where he addressed some of the issues. He put the nutrient in there. the dispute.
So he did say in his letter to me that he was going to be submitting the changes
Once they're, I guess,
once we finalize them.
So you're redundant right now.
So it sounds to me like he needs to withdraw his audit from the auditor in general.
But he doesn't have to apply law.
It's like, do you want to do you want to graduate high school with what's the minimum score to pass, or do you want to like know that you actually got some benefit going to high school?
We know we ain't got the benefits right now.
Well, given the circumstances we have here, I would think that we want to find out as much about our finances as possible. We found in this audit, okay, so if he submitted the audit on June 30th, then he submitted an audit where he's overstated town income by $45,000. That's 10%. Because the version that he gave me after we had that night, he changed it. So that means you've submitted an audit where you've overstated your income by 10%. That'll get you in trouble with the lender.
Okay. So here, this is where I am. This is on the opinions. And there are 4 opinions here about independence, but like, I can't.
Are they from judges?
No, from the department that basically license and regulates CPAs.
So it's like somebody's made a complaint and this is the case file or something?
These are more like just advisory opinions. So what happens is, I need to see what those opinions are, because usually they don't want you to do the same thing that they've already done. So if they already have an opinion on something, they're not gonna give you another opinion if they've already addressed it. So I'll have to ask them to send me those opinions to take a look at.
I want you to get those opinions, you compare them to
What our situation is. The
Gotcha.
other thing that we were looking at, so at first I was looking at doing requesting an opinion from the Attorney General. But that is pretty complicated compared to probably getting it from the Division of Accountancy. Because I need to do an entire memorandum of law with the, basically you have to tell them what you think the answer is going to be, and then they look at it and tell you if you're right or not.
This sounds like Robert's already run that gamut and said go to these other people.
Right. And they also want to look at more questions. Not necessarily, they don't want to get into the business of evaluating every factual scenario that's out there.
JLAC?
No, the Attorney General's office. So how you phrase the question has to be a certain way of importance that they think would be important to other people, not just our situation. So we've got those 2 situations going on.
And our situation's so unique.
I've never heard of the circumstances that we have here.
But I mean, it happens all the time where you have turnover. It happens.
Not
all the time.
100%.
It happens. It happens. You
You've got to
gotta think
remember
about.
there's been about 50 some odd towns that have been.
But even not towns, every organization, every nonprofit, every business that's out there, you're gonna have some turnover. The other thing is that the other person who could possibly sign would be Mr. Powell.
But he's in the same situation, that he
Well,
wasn't privy to all the stuff that it comes
He's
into it.
Financial,
Right, but he
Okay,
wasn't
well,
privy to the
let's address
contracts.
that when we get into that.
Yeah, so I mean, you get, like that would be another option, at least. He's been here the entire time. The person who is preparing the financial records. So that would be an option, but that has its own issues. Well, obviously, now we're back to that issue.
So, one is to redo the audit.
Yes.
While Mr. Garner is here with access to the records, and when somebody asks a question, he can direct somebody to go obtain the records or look for the records. That's a solution.
But we have a greater solution, because you still have the independence issue. So here's my thing. Based on the facts, if I had to give you my opinion, there's an appearance of a lack of independence, right? I mean, appearance is appearance. I haven't seen, if there's a website where he was listed as the consultant up until recently, that's an appearance of a lack of independence. So getting all these opinions, it was kind of like, even if I wrote this up, I'm like, you know, how do you write this up where it sounds like I actually need an opinion about this? Because it seems pretty obvious that there's, and even, let's say if they came back and said there's no issue with independence, how would we still feel about that? We would still feel like there's an issue with independence. So I think the most practical thing is, what are we gonna do about that? Because I agree, the audit needs to be redone, right? That would be, but we also need to go through this process and find new auditors, right?
So I was, so if you and I mean, you and myself and Mr., I mean, I'm on the board and I'm a CPA, so I have to lay all the cards out that I know. Otherwise, I've not done my job anymore. So I think that the records that I have, you and I should probably go through those, and I can say, okay, here's what I have, here's what I think, here's why I think what I think, and show you my documents, show you the paper trail, in a less formal environment, so we can just discuss.
I agree.
But
This is
Can I
from the
so
website
the
under
complicator,
team
though, Leslie, the complicator
members.
is,
Can I just say one thing? You know, we're talking about an auditor and the financial guy, right? And there seems to be an appearance of, you know, they're together. What would it cost to just remove them from the picture and bring two new, you know, new financial officer and a new auditor?
But first, we've gotta go through this selection process, right?
Yeah, they gotta go through the selection process, yes.
so technically the town, it sounds like the town has technically met the requirements to submit their 2024 audit. Now, the auditors govern themselves. I mean, that's part of it. You're fiduciary to the public when you do one of these audits. You're not a fiduciary to your friends at the town. And the burden is on the auditor to disclose things, and if he doesn't, and things come to light later, and he's found to have not done his due diligence, then that's what happened to Arthur Anderson.
Yes.
So,
We need to move forward. We can't wait 2 or 3 years for this to solve itself.
So if we
Am I
submit
right?
it and then submit the stuff that's gonna prove he didn't do his due diligence, then what happens?
okay, so let's back up. The management representation letters, the auditor does not have those for the years 2022 and 23. He should have disclaimed his opinion, so that means he started at 24, but we really don't know where 23 ended. 23 or 22 is not been audited.
So you have to have a beginning before you can make the next one.
So I think I think at this point, I want to share why I think there's an independence problem with my documents in the public. And then you and I can discuss the nuances of that, however that's going to be. And if you say you're barking up the wrong tree, then I can accept that, but I have to raise the issue.
Yeah, I don't think the issue goes away. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I tell you, I don't see where this thing's at.
Right.
And it goes away. So I think then you have to get to, well, what are we gonna do about it? Because we can write all these people, and if they tell us there's no issue, I still think the people will see that there's an issue. So what do we do about it? And I think that becomes where we do ask whoever our new auditing company is, or people are, to re-audit the year. But I don't know if that's something that we have to go through the auditing process, right? The selection process to even find that person.
Right.
Or, you know, or is that something different that we should look at where you're talking about someone not necessarily performing your annual audit, but doing more of the forensic audit?
Well, we could stay on the same track we're on, except advertise for 22, 23, and 24. And here are the reasons why. Then we would explain that in the section in the RFP where essentially they ask for complicating factors. Well, we have some complicating factors. We really don't have our hands around it yet. I mean, so we really don't have a 22 and 23 audit.
And the paperwork that came in this week be discussed on August 12th as a biggie,
What's that?
the Duke Energy thing.
What?
What? $500,000?
It's been paid. It was been paid years ago.
Then why did you
What
send
what
everything out?
happened in 2 months in a row, they sent White Springs, $200 and something thousand each year, each month, that belonged to, some other, Adolfo Springs or somebody in South Florida. And the city turned around and repaid them the money back. I've got trail
Oh,
documents.
see, that's not what I understood by reading those papers. It sounded like we
No,
still
no,
owe it.
no, 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 that's been paid, settled.
Okay, 'cause I was ready to
We
throw
got
up.
one money to pay back.
I was gonna say, how'd that happen again?
Right,
I think it's if I'm not mistaken, Adolfo Springs or one of the springs down south that got.
That's what I asked
We
you.
got
So how did that
Yeah.
get discovered? How was that discovered that the town got?
And why is
Because-
it
And
in our
that goes,
packet?
that goes back to the Auditor General's report where the bank accounts were reconciled for 36 months. That would have popped out like a frog.
I mean, it was done in 3 months. We got 2 months in a row, and then the third month when they called it, the money was paid back.
So why did we
I
get it in
haven't
our
looked at
packet for next month?
We what?
Why, I mean, next week, why did we get it in our packet for next week, just to make me throw up?
I wanted all y'all to understand how it happened. That's the
Okay.
reason I put it in.
Are you gonna explain it how it
Well,
happened?
I've heard so much about it, I want y'all to see the council.
I don't
So-
need to know this if it's
All right, so-
fixed.
So back to the.
I'm sorry, I'm involved.
So we could go through the same process and just advertise for 22, 23, and 24.
And that's something y'all need to decide on.
Okay,
not a
That's
million
what
percent.
we're only advisory. I mean,
Yeah,
we're-
the town council would have to decide.
that's-
The other question that I had, we talked a lot about our auditor, but what about the finance guy? You know, who you talked about already, since he's made major errors.
Well,
And do you want to really keep someone that makes errors that size? I'm not talking $5, you know,
I don't know what
we're
error.
talking $45,000.
September and October.
Which error are you talking about?
The money coming from the county
Oh.
and that stuff. I mean,
What?
that's a lot of money to make an error about.
We don't know if the error was somebody entered it into QuickBooks wrong or if he did something wrong, so
It
we
should
don't
have
know
been
where
caught,
the error
man.
is.
It would have,
You guys caught it.
and there was a paper trail with it, and that, there's some, and which is one of the questions we had to the auditors, how did that happen? Because the way, when I reviewed the general ledger, it just didn't look right to me, the way it was recorded in the general ledger, that's why I asked the question. And Mr. Perla was going to get back with us on that, but now we find out they issued it. Sounds like his secretary sent in a report and he didn't know about it.
Again, I mean, really,
But that's his problem, but,
no, that's our problem.
well, I know, but.
We need him to
that's
come
why-
here.
That's why
That's
we,
why we need someone who's competent.
somebody we can have confidence in and should we discuss the independence now?
Well, we can, but I think it kind of all covers unless there's a desire to basically, well, once I get the opinions, we can see if we want to get a declaratory statement from them is what, I don't think they do opinions anymore. I think it's now declaratory statements,
So-
that they call it.
Well, I'm not familiar with the term.
So are they going to need to invalidate the 2022, 2023 audits? Because there's no point in really getting them done just to have the Auditor General go, you already did this.
Well, how do you start at
We-
point A if you don't have?
We don't know that we had a thorough audit for 24. The field work was not done. The field work was done in May, and he issued the audit in June.
Now, trust me, there's stuff that we haven't even asked them about yet, like how we're missing a payment from call 3-3. Like a payment just doesn't exist. And I don't understand how they didn't catch that we're missing a $24,000 payment.
Well, but that's an example of why he should not have filed the audit. We had legitimate questions out to him, and he's submitted the audit, and it shouldn't have. But So you're gonna print out those opinions and
Yeah,
and
once I
then we
get
have
a
to
copy
go over
of
the fact pattern we have and see if any of them fit?
yes,
Okay.
and, you know, if there's something that fits, then we'll probably have our answer. If there's not, then we can look at getting, a petition, it's like a petition for a declaratory statement.
Um,
And then they might come back and tell us that maybe that is more of a complaint, and then we'll have to deal with that.
So are you talking about the issues now or the appearance?
Well, you have to be independent in appearance and in fact. I think they're not independents. They're not independent in appearance for sure. And the paper trail that we now have, that we did not have before Mr. Perla gave us some additional data that we requested when he presented his audit, we now have that. So it puts, to me, it's like solidifies, no, they weren't independent. They weren't selected properly. It's like Mr. Perla's firm, he didn't buy Mr. Powell's firm. Mr. Powell, they're two separate firms. Mr. Perla should not have just stepped into the shoes to do the audit. We should have gone through the whole process again. He was not selected properly.
So that's a selection issue, but we were talking about issues.
So you had somebody do your audit that wasn't selected properly. So do you really have the audit or not? That's the Leslie question.
Yes.
And that's what you're gonna
Yes.
do.
So basically, the Florida statute says if you didn't go through the selection process before, you must then do it for the next fiscal year. It doesn't say that you have to go back and redo the audits. But again, that's a decision that the town can make if they're not confident in the audit. I mean, that's a decision that the town can make.
Unconfident.
So the
or-
Yeah, I mean,
complicated-
that's something the town can do,
As far
but legally, there wasn't an obligation, a legal obligation.
But
for
we
us to
don't
go
know
back.
where our money is, put it that way.
That's,
Is, was,
that's up to
when.
you guys.
Well, I don't
You're
think you can
certainly
say you know
free to
where
do
the
that.
money is. That's-
You can.
But we don't have to
you
do
can
it at
audit
this
yeah.
point. Officially, we just need to do the 24.
Well, we should be clear about one thing. I have not found any missing money. I've not seen theft, I've not seen malfeasance, I've not seen any of that. So,
And you've
to-
had access to everything you've
I've
asked
had,
for.
not everything, I've had access to the bank accounts, basically. I've not been given access yet to the credit cards, the WEX account, or the other line of credit, which is purchase power. I have not seen those yet. They're working on it.
But you're happy with the bank statements and
But
where
so-
everything came in and went out?
So far, from the general fund, like I said, there's nothing in there that I look at and I go, oh my God, they're stealing money. Like, the only thing I really noticed was this missing payment from Cop 33, and we haven't even brought it up yet, asked what happened there, so.
And that was in this year's 24?
It was a carryover from the 2 years. So basically, there was a payment in December, and then 4 months later, there was another payment, and then a payment 3 months later, and then 5 months later, another payment. So
What
you're
about
talking
those
about,
what about those two payments to the gambling joints after they were stopped? After they were closed
Two
down?
$6,000 payments.
The two $6,000 payments.
And I believe
No
there were
idea
two
why it was-
$1,000 payments also.
So the question there was, did the town manager have authority to refund the $2,500? And where's the calculation that substantiates that refund? There's been no calculation of that number. How did she come up with that number? No one has a work paper say, here is how we calculated the refund.
There's no contract.
That's irrespective of should there have been a refund to an entity that was just shut down for illegal activity, and we refunded money a week later. It seems like that's at least something you would run by the town council. But I don't, these are just questions.
So,
But the audit-
there's questions out there.
There was no town council at that time, I think, right?
What?
There was no town council at that time.
Yes.
no, there was, this
At
was
the time of the
20,
shutdown?
this is 2024.
The seniors were shut down on April 10th. These checks went out on April 17th.
And it was a council meeting the day before.
Okay.
And I don't remember if
So
we
we got
discussed,
yelled at?
but so,
Is that the one we got yelled at?
but.
No, that was in June.
But the audit, what the audit's doing is testing to make sure your financial statements are not materially misstated. His job is not to find fraud. Sometimes you bump into it, but he's not here to find fraud. But But he also, before he starts his audit, part of his planning is he determines what is gonna be material. I'm gonna go to White Springs, and before I even look at anything, I need to determine what my materiality level is gonna be. If it's $5,000, then if I find a problem under $5,000, I would probably address it with Mr. Garner, but it's really not gonna affect my financial statements. But we have with the circumstance with the county, we have overstated revenue of $45,000. That's 10% of the general fund.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a substantial number that you go, wait a minute, I've got to restate this. And he did after we brought it to his attention, but what's filed with the state is gonna be the overstated revenue. I would say I would be wanting to make that correction.
He did say he was gonna make the correction, right, Robert? I'm not familiar with all the corrections.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what,
that's-
so the Auditor General just knows that,
Yeah.
if the Auditor General, when we had the disclaimer audit, the Auditor General knows that, okay, White Springs checked their box, they submitted the document, that's all that means. Well, when we went and told the Joint Legislative Audit Committee it was a disclaimer opinion, and that's not an audit at all, and Chairman Caruso, as a forensic CPA, said that's not an audit at all. I said, no, sir, that's why we're here. And that's how we got the audit from the Joint Legislative Audit Committee. Now, we checked the box, but
But then
So
that
has he
information
sent
should
the
have gotten.
second, the corrected audit, or,
says,
I'll say, quote, the corrected
Didn't he still
audit?
have some questions to sit down
Right, I
with
think
you?
that
No more
there's
than-
also
Yeah, he
work
said
order.
once we get an agreed upon document, we'll send it on. So
But you also
know what
had
that
more
means.
questions, am I not right?
I've not sent him some of my questions. No.
But you had some more questions, because you were gonna have another meeting with them, correct?
Correct. The tentative plan, which I need to connect with him because we talked 2 weeks ago, was to have a meeting in 2 weeks from now to talk about
2
outstanding
weeks from
issues.
today or 2 weeks from then?
2 weeks from now. So I guess it'd probably end up being the Thursday after our town hall. I have to talk to him because he might not be available then, and it might be the week after. But it'll be sometime in the next 3 weeks. I will send him basically 2 outstanding questions I have now, maybe 3 questions, and we can add that to the pile to talk to him about.
But you can adjust those at a later date if the box is checked.
See, I don't
he can
understand.
revise his audit, yeah.
Okay.
And then put that in his opinion. I mean, he missed something that he shouldn't have. And he can revise his opinion, that happens all the time. Which is why we should not have been in a rush to sign the management representation letter with all these issues percolating.
So where are we now, Robert?
With what? What?
Your agenda,
With my agenda, did we cover,
I have no idea.
Well,
did we talk about the appearance issue to everyone's satisfaction?
well,
Yes?
so you and I are gonna get together, I'm gonna show you the document trail why, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
And Mr. Garner can be a part of that, and that, or however it needs to be.
Okay.
But this is just not really the format to discuss it all and lay it out.
Are there any other outstanding issues anybody wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for your hard work.
Thank you. It is a lot of work.
It is.
If there's no more issues, then we're setting a date for the next meeting. Obviously, big caveat, auditor has to be able to make it that day.
When do you want to get together?
I can be here by 3 o'clock
We can
on
do-
Tuesday.
We can do like a Zoom or something, can't we?
Yeah, well, Tuesday is the town council meeting, so I don't know if that would work since I can get here earlier. And we could do it in person, or we could do it by Zoom.
I think it'd be easier to do it by Zoom because then I've got access to my computer records rather than bringing in things and
Okay.
and email back and forth. So you
Sure.
well, let's set this meeting
Mhm.
and then you and I'll discuss.
So we're not available the 19th, the 20th, or the 21st. I'm not.
I'm not available the 21st. So.
Not available the 20th.
26 is open because we're gonna have to change our budget hearing to either the 25th or 27th.
Okay, so we got the 26th then is the next day that I have available.
Okay, I'm good with that.
I'm not available the 25th, so
What time?
it'd be
6
6 PM. I've got to check with the auditor, make sure that works.
What, you mean you got a life?
No, we didn't.
No, I just have like 6 town hall meetings, 2 orientations, and the beginning of class, so,
Not to mention your
You're-
schoolwork.
yeah,
You're anticipating Mr. Pearl being here on the 26th?
on the 26th.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, he and I were back and forth and cleared some things up, and he had to change some things, so we can move the ball. We don't have to be here at a meeting to clear things up with him.
Chairman, I make one statement to everybody here to clarify something. What I did by signing that letter was to continue the government to continue operating. If you don't submit audits and you apply for funds, grants and so forth, you don't get them. Whether they're right or not, but we check that mark off, we submitted the audit. And that was one of the reasons I do it, because we got several grants pending out here. But I can keep the government operating, and that's the reason I did it.
But you know what?
After 40 years, I've been worse than this and that.
So you're saying you don't want to meet the 26th then?
No, I'm good with that. I'm just saying that you've got issues with Mr. Pearl and I do, so we can just be working with him to the extent he'll work with us, and maybe we'll have him ironed out by then and all that. Let's just schedule it for the 26th.
Yeah, well, we could always cancel if we decide that we're sufficiently. All right, that's the end of it. Would anybody like to motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
It's been motioned that we adjourn. Is there any seconds?
I second it.
It's been motioned and a second that we adjourn. Any discussion? No, well, let's bring this to a vote. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Let the record state it is 7:07.